Hi, my name is Barry Morrow. I live in southeastern Pennsylvania, and I'm going to do a review of K-Guard gutters. So let me begin. The best part of my K-Guard gutter experience was having them removed from my home. So my overall experience was that these things drip, drip, drip. I had 3 interior corners. All of them were faulty. 2 in particular were very problematic because they ended up really showing on the stucco of my home. So this is my rear deck, and you can see here how my stucco is discolored because this interior corner drips, and at times after a bigger rainstorm, um, wet spots on my stucco would appear 3 feet off the ground. This is a second story, and again you can see similar kind of discoloration. Interior corner, water runs down, doesn't get captured properly, and drip, 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 and you can see the level of discoloration here. Also point out, I do live in a next to a nature preserve, and I do have a lot of trees. You can see a lot of discoloration and yuckiness on the top of the K-Guard gutter. I did have one gutter contractor point out that that does impact the surface adhesion, and he showed me a line on the bed underneath this that demonstrated that the water was actually not always going in the gutter, but at times was running off. Another point here is that when I had these gutters removed, I had a lot of rotten fascia board. When the K-Guard gutters were installed, I did have a lot of fascia board replaced. And again, I was forced to do that again. About 80 feet of fascia needed to be replaced. The fascia is the board that the gutter hangs on. In terms of clogging, I did have a couple incidents of the gutters clogging. It was typically by the downspout, and the way I resolved that, fortunately, was on the first story, was by removing the corner cover and using a hose to flush it and a long screwdriver to sort of get at the clog and eventually release the debris. So third element of my experience, and I think this is the most important, is that there's a proprietary design for these gutters. And because it's not readily serviceable by non-K-Guard gutter contractors, you're increasing your risk. So my experience here was the nearest K-Guard gutter contractor, who's not the one that installed the gutters, but still was the nearest one, was a no-show. We talked, the guy sounded very competent. He identified a time slot where he'd be in the area. And he didn't show up at the designated time. I actually called him. He picked up the phone, said he'll get back to me with a specific time. He never did. I did follow-up calls. I know things happen. So then I escalated to K-Guard, and they struggled with a response. Here they directed me to an email address. When I sent something to an email address, it just bounced. The number here, I left a voicemail, it was ignored. I did eventually get to a person. The thing that's sort of really disturbing about this is when I posed as a new customer from a town that's like a mile away, the contractor had no problem setting up a sales appointment where they would be out in a few days. And in fact, it was even the same guy. So again, because of the proprietary design, I think you're really just inviting risk because no one will really service these gutters. My recommendation, avoid them. Instead, work with a local, well-established contractor who does gutters. It's often either a gutter specialist or somebody who does roofing. And I went with a contractor that used a 6-inch traditional gutter. He used Bulldog gutter guards. They have a 25-year clog-free guarantee. I'm quite confident that this guy is going to be in business. And if he does go out of business, I can go to another gutter contractor and they can service these gutters. I'm not stuck with K-Guard or a single option in terms of service or maintenance. The other thing I'll point out is this guy did a little more. while the gutters were down, was a perfect time to repaint the fascia and the soffit. So not only did he do that for the new wood that he replaced, he actually painted it for across the entire house. So again, avoid K-guard gutters. It's just not worth the headache.